digital transformation projects. Today, we have teams joining from a bunch of different industries, and it's a pleasure to have you. If this is your first time attending, welcome. And if you are a regular, we're excited to have you back. We run these workshops to give back to the SAP community, which is part of our company's culture. Also, we ask that you participate in the polls throughout so that we can continue to provide fresh content for future webinars. Our last workshop was about how to reduce downtime and monitor your SAP applications anywhere with SAP Solution Manager 7.2 Application Operations. If technical monitoring is something you want to learn more about, feel free to reach out to us. All right, so here's the agenda for today. As you can see, it will be full of great information for you guys, and then we're going to end again with the Q&A. When you have questions during the presentation, type them into the questions pane in the control panel. We will collect them all and address as many as we can during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. We are a dedicated team of experts focused on digital transformation lifecycle. We are a Los Angeles-based team founded in 2009 and are SAP knowledge leaders using a proven agile methodology for quicker adoption. Our main expertise is in digital transformation lifecycle and SAP Solution Manager. We cover all aspects of Solution Manager's platform, and here are some examples of our expertise and solutions we've helped our clients with. These are the services that we offer. We use a holistic approach to the application lifecycle management and the complete functional capabilities of Solution Manager. We have the resources to deliver services in managing your application lifecycle, and with the push to HANA, we also help companies with HANA conversions and upgrades. Also, here's our awards and certifications. We are an SAP partner and SAP certified to run SAP implementations. Finally, I'd like to introduce today's presenter. We have Larry Wilson with us, the testing practice lead here with Core ALM.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Shannon, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So as Shannon mentioned, I've been with Core ALM for a while. I was with testing services with SAP prior to that. So today, I'm going to start off by talking about digital business transformation. So Solution Manager 7.2 was built for as many of you know, before 7.2 was 7.1, there was a lot of architectural challenges and limitations. But with 7.2, all of that is over. 7.2 has been out for a while now, and it's really designed to support digital transformation. So digital transformation is really about changing the way that to meet the challenges of things that are continuously being changed in applications and in the service, the supporting infrastructure. So there's always changes going on, and now the expectation is things that are going to be continuously running. So the prior way in Solution Manager and SAP was support packs and enhancement packs, and usually limiting that to a couple a year, and then minor changes and small upgrades or small enhancements. But now going into new innovation, S/4HANA, it has to change to now support continuous change. So that's what digital business transformation is. The old way is more time-consuming. It prevents businesses often from being able to do innovation in a timely manner. So now the direction is to be able to continually make changes. And So you'll see how that works. So there's, within Solution Manager 7.2 and the way it's designed and built, there's several different scenarios. For example, portfolio management and project management is a separate part of Solution Manager. Previously in 7.1, it was tied directly into requirements to deploy. So project manager management is the first step in a implementation project, for example. But requirement to deploy is the new methodology. So there's demand, design, development, test, and then deploy. Then there's detect to correct. So there's monitoring, business process monitoring, technical monitoring that comes with, so that's also part of 7.2, and it monitors, creates incidents, and then the problem is analyzed and optimized. And then the fourth part is a service catalog, meaning a service request, maybe for laptops or for other types of services. So then that's fulfilled. But what we're mainly interested in is just requirement to deploy. So that's what the digital transformation is all about. And as we get into DevOps, you'll see the same thing. So again, as mentioned, the demand comes from something that is broke. There's a program that has to be fixed. So it goes directly into development, test, and then it's deployed right away as fast as it can be. Enhancements are small changes. They're entered in and requested. They go through. They're assessed, negotiated for the delivery and cost, and then development and testing happens. And then innovation are the bigger projects, and part of that is monitoring the solution as all of this activity is going on. So the document flow for the requirements to deploy, a fix is an incident, and then it becomes a problem or a request for change. Change documents are used for development and for testing, so it goes through the change and release management process at that point. And then again, the deploy is minor releases or immediately. And then the larger requirements, this is kind of new, is the requirements are part of Solution Manager 7.2, and they become part of work packages and scope, and then further within development and testing, they're down at the work item, and these are the major releases. So that's kind of the high level of requirements to deploy, and as part of digital transformation, Agile methodology has been introduced. So, this is when you start digging in and thinking about doing this, the Agile methodology has been around for a while, and it's really the first step into DevOps, because DevOps it's partly tool set, but then it's a change in the way that development and operations works now versus previously, where it's pretty much a silo. So when SAP first started, they always talked about it was tightly integrated, and so it was a good and a bad thing. But the integration in Solution Manager and other tools supporting IT and application lifecycle management, the demand was really never to remove the silos until now. So with the digital transformation, working in the silos is being changed so that there can be continuous delivery, continuous integration. So SAP Activate, for those who remember the ASAP methodology, this is a new methodology, and it really is an Agile methodology. And this slide really, what you need to know here is Solution Manager is really built to support S/4HANA as well as orchestrating end-to-end service delivery. So that's the continuous service delivery. Solution Manager is built to do that. And all the different parts that make up that. The value is assurance, Solution Manager, S/4HANA roadmap, and S4 model company run the business and integration migration through Activate. So you may have seen this slide before, but with Agile methodology, the deal is you really are doing sprints. So every 2 to 4 weeks, you have work packages that have been built, and during that time, those 2 to 4 week sprints, you do design, build, test, and document. Those are so in this case, it's showing that there are 4 requirements: A, B, C, and D, and so those are going to be split up into different groups of resources, each one of them by the resources that you see, and they're going to be working on those, and then they're going to be ready for proof of concept. So the idea is this is a iterative approach. So previously, the complaint with SAP implementations of new innovation was, when a customer is going to SAP, is it spent a lot of time blueprinting, and the blueprinting was all done on paper. It took, quite a while to get that done, and often when the customer saw what it was or what was being delivered, it wasn't what they was expected, even though they were, of course, it was a team effort to do the blueprinting. So with the iterative process, you go through and do the requirements. You do a proof of concept. The business owners and the business experts will go through and say, well, no, that's not what we want, and then the work package will go back and go into another sprint. So generally, sprints are starting out with a simple foundation, master data, org structure, business processes that require no integration with other teams or modules. And then the security is config all to big business analysts only and view to the balance. And then 2, become more complex business processes with some simple integration and integration between teams and master data. The RISIP are some, but limited, and security, same. And then the Sprint 4, significant integration and began to get into the end user security for user acceptance testing. And then the final sprint is the final execution of all end-to-end business processes. Conversions are completed for data, and the security is tested for by user acceptance testing. So one of the things SAP has done, and you may have heard of it, is SAP Focus Build. And Focus Build, and this is the slide you saw before, it's built to support the requirements to deploy and prepare, explore, realize, deploy, and run. So SAP module for requirements management is done within the process models, and then the Agile sprints to release within testing or within testing and all of Test Suite, and especially there's been a lot of the applications that are high usability roles, and then the project governance. So this is one of the things you'll see several times is automated status reporting. So SAP has designed this and integrated change and release management, project management, requirements management, test management. So, and within Focus Build, there are dashboards that are used to monitor and keep up with what's going on during the sprints and completion of the sprints. So again, Focus Build is an SAP Activate support S4 HANA implementations. It's a tool-supported methodology, and it's fast, cost-efficient implementations. So the idea here, again, is with the sprints, it's speed. So for the business and discovery team, it's a collaborative business process design with a business process modeling as part of solution documentation and process management. It's a show and tell, testing and training with the business, constant feedback, prototyping, and to scope out what needs to be built. Next is the build team and solution delivery. And so prototyping, again, no more blueprinting, it's prototyping. So it's every few weeks with the Agile methodology. The teams have to get their work packages completed, and then the business reviews those and makes any scope changes and which is monitored along with the budget for the project. Agile development waves and sprints and building blocks globally. So this is important. Again, think in terms of building blocks. Automation. So automation, even though we talk about continuous automation in the testing world, we do have a continuous automation, and you'll see that as we go through the rest of the presentation. But the automation of project work. So again, configuration automation through rapid development, transport automation through CHARMs, through change management from dev to QA to PR to prod, and then test planning automation for UAT and regression testing. So again, the way the building blocks provide work packages and comes through Focus Build, then the test plan is easily built based on those work packages that have test cases associated with them, and so that makes it easier for scheduling. So if there's a package that's pulled out or some of the items pulled out, then the test plan is automatically generated. And so value for the PMO. So again, you see a dashboard. So the dashboards become a big part of Focus Build. It allows Solution Manager, PMO to orchestrate and track the solution readiness, and uses consistent methodology, integrated requirements to deploy, and the tool sets. So again, the dashboard is visible. It's automated delivery. So this is another automation. So within, again, continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous testing, automation is important in every part of what's going on within Focus Build. So here, transparent requirements to deploy. So continuous delivery and automation. So sprints are the show and tell sessions to the business, and then the waves are the touch and feel. Phases are ended in quality gate, and that's going to be part of change management. And then the project bundles the deliveries and then has releases. So at the program level, going down, scaled agile orchestration. So there's release automation, and that's talking about change and release management, automated reporting, again, the dashboards, pragmatic documentation handling, so you don't have, within Agile, try to limit how much documentation is really required. Automated completion tracking, test planning and execution automation, and at the unit test level, there's automation, transport automation, and there's JIRA integration. So what's in Focus Build? Turnkey process configuration integration for the whole requirements to deploy. And then within there's different units, portfolio and project management. So project management is tied in with requirements management, process management. And again, some of these, I won't go into great details, but you may have seen this in previous webinars, or if you haven't, you'll see them in other webinars. So process management, again, is the hierarchy and the structure that's built into 7.2 to have the different branches and development and run the business can all go on at the same time. So each one of these are change control, release, test suite. These are the key components. Project management, probably more than portfolio, but that is part of that unit. There's UI5 applications that can also be done, standalone enhancements and dashboards. So again, take a look at the process and see that the different roles. So the roles are for PMO, they're creating project plans and they're tracking readiness and managing quality gates and handing over release to the customer. Solution design team for the business, validation of requirements. The build team creates work packages, assigns work items and build teams, manages a show and tell. The build team, the development team develops, configures unit and does unit tests, documents work items, process, releases, defect corrections, and plan, and then test management does single functional testing, functional integration testing, UAT, and RT per wave, regression testing per wave. Hang on just a second, a little glitch there. So another look from a discovery team, but mainly today development through development configure unit test, functional and integration test, UAT regression test. PMO manages the quality gates, and again, test management manages defects and defect corrections. This is shows the activities, and again, if looking at it from a testing perspective, there's unit tests which are done by developers on the work items. There's single unit functional tests that are done by the testing resources, functional integration testing, regression testing, user acceptance testing, and then for deploy. So here you see requirements go into work packages. So there's a lot of requirements. The teams get together, divide up the requirements into logical groups, put them into work packages, and then the test case assignment is added to the work packages, and this is used to create the automated test plan with for UAT, FIT, single functional test. And again, BPCA, it shows here for regression testing, but it also can be utilized for the other tests as they're coming through change management. So next, kind of get into the enterprise DevOps. So, and the reason is because requirements to deploy, we talk about that, and it includes enterprise DevOps. So what is enterprise DevOps all about? Again, it's moving away from silos. There's one of the terms within DevOps is shift left, and it's fundamental. And the concept here is that the focus on building quality and application started the process and development. So there's more emphasis put on at the unit testing level and at the single functional testing level at the sprints. Releasing enhancements, again, this is something that's within Solution Manager. The change and release management is releasing the enhancements. Automation is a key enabler for DevOps. And so there's a lot of continuous processes, continuous integration. So what type of automation? For continuous integration, unit tests, code checks, build sequence, dependency checks, environment provisioning to improve quality and reduce risk. Continuous delivery, automation of the approvals, and then testing and delivery. So that includes test planning and test execution. Continuous testing to accelerate the release. So here, of course, we're talking about automation of test cases, functional test cases, and not unit testing. And then continuous deployment. And so the release and deployment of changes, again, automation is important, are critical. So again, this kind of is a practical guide that's been created, and a white paper for SAP, how SAP DevOps, the development lifecycle. So in Dev, there's the development and configuration part, unit test, which is automated, and this is a different type of automation. It's not CBT automation, and I'll show you a little bit more of that. Code quality checks and peer review, and then approvals to go to QA, and then automated sequencing. So that's sequencing transports and objects to go in and change Solution Manager change and release management to have that automated. Dependency checks, risky object checks, impact assessment, and this is BPCA as part of Test Suite, automated deployment, and again, testing in Test Suite, which would be automated and manual, and then approval to pre-prod, and there's environment provisioning, automated deployment, and automated regression testing. Again, automated deployment when it goes to prod. So this is what DevOps and SAP development lifecycle is about. It's continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous deployment, all part of continuous delivery. So in the dev environment, again, building quality in the development process enables potential issues to be highlighted at the beginning of the process and not in QA or even in production. So the second part of that is making sure that all the in-house, outsourced, and contract developers work to the same code quality and standards using a tool. And I'll show you the tools later. Automate unit testing, and there's tools for that, like ABAP unit can be used, and peer reviews, which would again be part of this process of SAP DevOps. And so the benefit is nothing leaves development without having been fully checked out. In the QA environment, again, just to stay with the automation part, automation of deployment of transports after approval. And again, Solution Manager provides much of this, if not all of the automation that needs to be done, even transports, testing. But the other part is you have to, if you're doing it, there's some manual parts of it, but if you have to be able to manage across cross-system deployments, meaning that's part of the automation that SAP Solution Manager change and release management provides. So same thing, these are the things that are needed and implemented: method to track, notify, and complete manual activities that can be automated. Deploy an automated impact assessment process to know what the impact and effect the changes have and process before deploying in a QA system. So again, this is within Test Suite Business Process Change Analyzer. You can run it against the development environment, see what the impact is before it's going to be in the QA system, and then be able to know what the test scope is, and also what test cases need to be created or repaired. Pre-prod environment is current systems won't break, so what we're, continuous testing, so regression testing, and in all of our webinars with testing, we talk a lot about regression testing, so to make sure things are not broken. And we have continuous testing. We have automated regression testing. It becomes even more important in the continuous delivery. And then finally, pre-prod, and the big takeaway here is run regression test again and keep running the automated impact assessment to know what's in the transports before they and what their impact is. Okay, so change and release management. We're not going to go into a lot of detail on that. We have separate webinars, and you may have attended those. But it's important to know that change and release management, again, supports continual deployment, phase-driven deployment, and release management. And this kind of shows you the integrated requirements to deploy for business and IT. So if there's a business requirement and IT requirement changes, there's a project norm. I think we've probably seen this in other slides, but then there's normal change, defect correction, release, and import. But the important part is this does support the continuous delivery and integration. So next we'll talk about Test Suite and continuous delivery. So hopefully you have seen this in another webinar that we've done on Test Suite with 7.2. But if you haven't, Test Suite 7.2 is a comprehensive test solution fitting the needs for the majority of SAP customers. So it's automated and manual and automated functional tests, change impact analysis, new requirements, triggering test planning for user acceptance testing, high degree of automation, supports agile development with requirements deploy through focus build, and it's integrated, and this is really important, with process management, solution documentation, CHARMS, ITSM, and it's good for SAP and non-SAP. It's integration, test system refresh, and test data provision, and it's integrated with third-party automation tools. And this, again, where we started, one of the reasons for DevOps is working in silos, but within Solution Manager now with the integration, single source of truth. So within testing, we always talk about the traceability matrix, and with all the information here and it's integrated in, Test Suite is really all that you need. And in the past, one of the, I guess, the not so good things was data replications, meaning for business process change impact analysis or assessments. If this goes to third parties, then there's a lot of data that has to go back and forth. But since it's all in Solution Manager as a single source of truth, it doesn't. It is all handled and integrated. So important thing here, and you may have seen this, so it's in on-premise or on cloud, manual automated test for full functional test types. And this one slide we like to show because you can see the whole process. So solution documentation, if you're not familiar with that, it's really, it's the part that's set up. It's really a folder structure, meaning it has a functional area, maybe supply chain management, and then it breaks it down into processes and process steps. Within solution documentation, you can keep technical specification, business process requirements. All the documentation can be stored there. It's not required to be able to do the testing part, though. Test cases are stored there in the hierarchy, along with the business process and requirements. So test cases, they're stored here. They're manual and automated. And then test planning, which I mentioned a couple of times. This is where if you're going through the full focus build methodology, the work packages end up getting generated from, or the test plan gets generated from work packages. It also, test plan can automatically get generated from BPCA and test scope optimization. And then Test Suite has test execution, manual and automated, defect management, gap reports, status report, progress reports. There's dashboards for with or without focus build. Change impact analysis, there's two parts to it. We cover this in other webinars. I won't go into too much detail, but in continuous delivery, again, it's mentioned that BPCA is real important to support the Agile methodology and conserve the time that you need in finding out what's being impacted as the sprints and waves are being conducted. CVTA is the automated test tool that works with SAP GUI, WebDynPro, ABAP, CRM Web Client, UI5, Fiori, and then the partner test tools will cover the non-SAP technologies. So you probably have gotten information about that in other webinars, hopefully. So focus build, what's happening here is Test Suite requirements and work packages based test plan generation. I've mentioned that. Manual testing, test steps, and then test executions and dashboards. So those are the add-ons for focus build. And then Test Suite in itself, these are all the different areas of it. It's manual, automated, test data management, analytics, test plan, execution. So I want to show this report just to show this is automated tests that support digital business transformation. So unit test, I mentioned that several times, and again, this is to verify software features at the lowest possible level. So during the sprints in the dev system before transport to QA systems, tools like ABAP unit, JUnit, OPA5, QUnit, XS unit, those are all used to do the type of testing that needs to be done at the unit test for standards, performance at a unit level. And then functional tests, again, these are tools that we just talked about, CBTA, HPUFT, that's a good combination. And then user acceptance test, regression test after the sprints in the QA system. Now, here's another look at testing again during multiple sprints. So there's unit testing going on along with the sprint planning, development configuration, sprint review, and then there's single functional unit test at the end of sprints. And at the end of sprints 1 through 3 and then 4, again, see integration testing, which we're more familiar with. Test classifications, again, this is another view of where this is, more information about it when it's done. This is during sprints. There's no test cases created for this. Single functional units after sprint review meeting. This assigned a process step in the solution documentation hierarchy. And then this is a software validation at a single feature level, process steps. Integration tests are the test cases are, this is fit, and they're assigned to business processes in the solution documentation hierarchy. And this is functional testing, business processing. Then there's regression testing, and that's at the process step or business process step in the hierarchy, the folder structure. Here's another little view of tools for unit testing. So ABAP unit, JUnit, OPA5, QUnit, XS unit, XS unit. So these are the tools that the developers are more familiar with, and not for the test team. Just a couple more things with the automation, talking about automation and what our focus is today. So CBTA, automating test cases, again, their test cases will be built as a test configuration in the solution documentation. We create and it's created from solution documentation to create a test configuration. Then we use test creation wizard to record that. It creates test components and a test script, and then we finalize the test configuration with parameters and data. So again, we have, if you haven't seen them, we have from time to time deep dives into test automation, and these are the ones that, this is the UI technologies that's supported by CBTA. And then next is BPCA, and I've mentioned that several times. It's super important to use once you have test cases built, and then you need to know what the changes are, which test cases are impacted. Super important for maintaining regression test assets and running those, and just the ones that you need. And again, talks about fix enhancement and innovation. So identifies business processes, and we have an example here of how test scope optimization works as part of BPCA. So it reduces, there were 2,500 scripts used for regression testing. Without test scope optimization, there would have been 1,820 that would have been scoped with 99%. So this is risk-based testing with no impact to production by selecting 99%. There were only 76 scripts in scope. So again, in the webinars, we talk about how test scope optimization works, and it creates a test plan, so that's all automated. Key takeaways here to just wrap this up. Requirements to deploy value chain provides an integrated solution for deployment, change release, test, and operations processes. SAP Activate methodology supports faster, less service-intensive deployments, so that's the Agile methodology. Focus Build is a tool that orchestrates and tracks solution readiness through, again, the dashboards for requirements to deploy, and it includes the content and tool sets. So tool set supportive automation unit checks, we talk about that, but that's continuous integration. Solution Manager Focus Build provides automation of approvals, testing, and delivery, continuous delivery. Test Suite and Focus Build, automation of test plan, test execution, accelerates releases, reduces risk, continuous testing and automation. Test Suite BPCA provides impact analysis, and including test scope optimization, continuous testing, and automation. And Solution Manager Change and Release Manager provides an automated solution for managing transports for deployment, QA, and production, continuous automation. So now I'm going to hand it back to you, Shannon, for our final poll question, and then I think you'll be taking any questions that we have.
Okay, thank you, Larry. So, yeah. So the poll questions: will you consider using SAP Solution Manager for your Agile methodology? So it's just like one of the following. So this poll question is just for us to get a better understanding of where the SAP community stands on using Agile. So thanks again, Larry, for your presentation, and we're going to begin answering questions submitted during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel. So if your control panel is minimized, it's the little orange arrow on the top right corner of your screen. And I'm going to share the results. So yeah, I guess most of the community members and attendees here would like to use Agile methodology. There's no. So I hope this presentation was useful in your understanding of Agile. And we do have our first question here from Siddharth. How flexible is Solution Manager with integrating other tools such as Jira, VSTS, and HPALM?
Yeah, so Solution Manager Jira, is part of. I think it may have been on one of the slides, but yeah, it's integrated. Solution Manager provides integration. HPALM is no longer integrated with, as of 7.2 of HPALM. We still utilize some of the HPALM tools formally, but actually HP, that part of HP is now called Microfocus, and Microfocus is part of the framework with UFT, which is for non-SAP automation. So does that help, or do you need a follow-up on that one?
Yep, so if you do have a follow-up question, feel free to ask. I do have another question here from Jennifer. Do you use SOLMAN projects for CBTA to work since it leverages solution documentation? Can you instead use charm requests?
Can you go through that one more time?
Yeah, sure. So her question is, do you have to use SOLMAN projects for CBTA to work since it leverages solution documentation? Can you instead use charm requests?
Right. No, you don't have to use a project. You can use a charm request for minor releases. The project would only be needed like with focus build, but without, you don't have to have a project built with the work items and work packages. You can just have a charm request and then do the testing from there, as well as BPCA, the impact assessment. So not required.
Okay, I do have a follow-up question from Jennifer, but before we go to that follow-up question, so usually in our workshops, we do have a demo that we, the practice leads would do. So, but in the interest of time for this workshop, we did not have a demo. So if you would like an individual demo of the following topics, just use this this poll to fill it in, and we see if we could arrange an individual demo for you or your team if you're interested more in the topics that we do whole workshops on. So the follow-up question here from Jennifer is, do these automated tests continue to run even after the project is closed, or is the automated test really only good for a particular project?
No, they can continue to run. So after you've finished a project, if you've built new automated tests, they can be part of the test assets and can be run when against other projects or against change requests.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Jennifer. I do have another question here from Jordan. Are you seeing customers leveraging Solution Manager for optimizing their planning and execution of S/4HANA projects?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they're starting to use Focus Build and of course Solution Manager. With or without Focus Build, customers are beginning to use it. Yes.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Jordan. Have a question here from Alan. Do we need any other tools other than Solution Manager to realize the benefits of continuous testing?
No, the tool set that are the tools that were mentioned in the presentation. Those are ones that are needed to support continuous testing. So no additional tools. So just to be sure, those CBTA is for SAP automation of test cases, and for non-SAP, there are third-party tools, but they're integrated into Test Suite so that you can use both. So there's a couple of choices. You could use, SAP if you don't have a lot of non-SAP that you need to do. That can be, you can have both automated in Test Suite. You can have automated and manual tests running together in a test plan and through a tester's work list. But if you have a lot of non-SAP, you can select one of the other tools. We like the Micro Focus UFT. It would be it covers most of all the other user interfaces that are non-SAP. Some of the other products are, unless you have a huge amount of non-SAP, would probably be more expensive. The good thing, if you have enterprise support or higher, none of the tools that we showed, CBTA, BPCA, and everything else, and excuse me, in Solution Manager, there's no additional cost for those. Focus Bill, there is some additional charges for that. If you're interested, you could talk to the client partners and sales folks, and they can help you with that.
Okay, thanks for the response, Larry. I think that was a good question. So we come to the top of the hour, and I still see that we have a lot of questions that are being asked by the attendees. We're just going to go to one last question. The questions that are not answered in today's workshop, we follow it up afterwards with you. So I do have one last question from Christian. Is SOMAN including a predefined list of test cases that we can tailor for our organization? I'm referring to solution documentation content.
Right. So there's best practices documentation that can be that SAP provides, and that includes test cases. So just be sure you understand those are really more examples, and maybe they're good starting points, but you would have to do your actually model or come up with your business process to be able to use those. So they're good examples, but they, as with anything else, they may not be exactly the way that you would have it after you've done your configuration, have different workflows. So there are test cases and solution documentation generated, and it is best practices and shows you how it should be done.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Christian. If you have a follow-up question, you can feel free to ask, and we'll follow up with you. So thanks again, everyone, for attending today's workshop. I hope that this workshop was fruitful and it helped you with your Agile methodology. So on behalf of everyone here at Corium and our presenters, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.